Yo, what's up, YouTube? This is your boy Alex. It's like about less than an hour and a half before it's Friday night. Got another YouTube video that I'm gonna make. Normally, I don't do 3 or 4 videos in a row, but I'm bored. I don't know about you women and men out there. I am bored. I've never been this bored in my entire life. This one's going to be a very fun, cool interaction type of YouTube video. This one came to me from out of nowhere. It's going to be broken into 2 parts. I'll give you part one today and then part one tomorrow because I am going to go out on location and I am going to film part two of this video plus another video that's going to be talking about business, money, and real estate. Something new, something fresh for my general audience, male and female, young or old, black or white. This one's going to be in the fandom of video games. If you're a man or a woman, doesn't matter if you're young or old, black or white, doesn't matter if you're 18, 23, or 24, 25, you can thumbs up or give me a comment in there. Do you play video games? I'm talking about as of right now, do you play video games? Doesn't matter if it's PlayStation, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox, Xbox 360, Nintendo Wii, Game Boy. Doesn't matter if you play computer games. Do you play video games? Because this is a new video concept. This is a new video, new episode that's going to probably spin off into its own series. This one's going to be called Sex Game Halo, Halo versus Metal Gear Solid. Who's better? Who had the better video game franchise? These are two of the badass, biggest video game franchise of the decades. Metal Gear Solid came in the late 1980s, early 1990s, and when I was a kid, the first video game came out on Game Boy. A lot of y'all probably don't even know what I'm talking about when I say a Game Boy. Like if you're in your 30s or 40s, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I say a Game Boy. And it wasn't until like 5 years later they came with Metal Gear Solid 2. By this point, it was now 1995, 96, and Konami, that was the name of the person who worked for the company, Japanese guy. And we had, guess what? You had it. We had Metal Gear Solid and Metal Gear Solid 2, the video games recreated. And the story was that Snake, the guy that has the eye patch over his eye that's badass, that's super badass, was a genetic enhanced clone super soldier that came from the DNA of the main villain, Big Boss. And there's like different versions of Snake, there's Solid Snake, there's Metal Gear Snake, there's Rex, the big giant T Rex if you play the video games. And then there's Big Boss, there's Naomi Hunter, there's Alakhan, there's Metal Raiden. There was all these characters in the video games. Now there's like at least 5, maybe 6 video games in the Metal Gear Solid franchise, and it's basically spanned off 2 decades. There's books, there's graphic novels, there's comic books, posters, backpacks, trading cards, action figures. There's even been low budget short movies of Snake, and you can even throw in Kurt Russell's Escape from New York and Escape from LA. Hold on. Got the police helicopter flying over us, so I apologize for that. But basically, if you look at it, we had 2 live action movies that were based off the video game character. And to this very day, some people actually would like to see what would happen if you made Metal Gear Solid into a live action movie, or you could make it into 2 to 3 films, or into a television series. Me personally, I would like to see more of it in a television concept because you could probably get 5, maybe 6 seasons out of Metal Gear Solid with all the material you got. I could see them make it into a television series than a movie. With if you go the movie route, you can only get 3 or 4 films out of Metal. You can only get 3 or 4 films. You're lucky if you get 5 films out of Metal Gear Solid. If you go the television route, you can get 6 or 7 seasons of a television show of Metal Gear Solid. And if you look at Steve Rogers, Captain America from Marvel Comics, that's basically what Snake is. He's a genetic enhanced super soldier who just happens to, get injected with some stuff that makes him age, and he has the eye patch, and basically he fights, bad guys. He's the ultimate alpha male to a lot of people, and a lot of people have played the video game for the last 14, 15 years, because I have a birthday coming up. Oh yeah, less than about 2 weeks from now, on my 35th birthday, I will go from being 34 years old to being 35 years old. A lot of y'all probably looking like, Alex, you don't even look like you're 34 or 35. My dad will argue I look every bit of 34 and 35 because I eat my fruits and vegetables, and I drink lots of water, and I work out a lot, and I watch what I eat, and I watch what I drink, and I do cardio and weight training. I don't look my age. I am 35. I just don't look 35. But that ain't the point. The point is, Snake is a genetic enhanced clone who came from the DNA of Big Boss, and Big Boss was the villain in the first video game. And then he came back at the end of part two, going into Metal Gear Solid 3. And then, of course, my personal favorite video game, Metal Gear Solid 3, Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of Patriot. Now, I've only played the first three video games of Metal Gear Solid. I've never played the fourth one. I've never played the fifth one. I've heard people badmouth the last video game of Metal Gear Solid, and people said they should go make a Metal Gear Solid 6, which there's ideas to make a six. And I've never played the spin-off video game, which was Metal Raiden. I read the comic book, but never played the actual video game of Metal Raiden, another badass character that Konami created with these characters. And I think it's time to answer that billion-dollar question in the video game nerd fandom that all video gamers, nerds, and geeks, and people who watch anime all want to know: what was the best video game franchise? Metal Gear Solid or Halo? I'm trying to, break down much of the video game history as much as I can. Now I'm gonna get to part. Now I'm gonna get to Halo. Now we all know who John 117 is, Master Chief from the series of Halo. Now, again, he's a genetic enhanced super soldier that was cloned in a laboratory, and we all know who he is. He's this ultimate badass of an alpha male. He's between 6 feet, 6 foot four, 195, 250 pounds, with a muscular build, big ass gun, got armor that weighs almost 30 pounds, and he was in the military. And if you know the basis of the first video game, there was a conflict between two alien races that fought each other for almost 100,000 years, and the military would go into outer space in the fictional video game, and Master Chief, John 117, was the main character, and he had his own group called the Spartans. And that whole entire video game conflict was him trying to help the good guys beat the bad guys. We all know at the end of that conclusion, he got separated from the Spartans, and then he ended up on another remote planet. If you've seen the movie Pitch Black with Van Diesel, that's basically what Halo was. It was futuristic Captain America versus aliens. That's how I would describe Halo. And any man and woman who have played the video game of Halo is going to tell you what I'm about to tell you. 99.999%, you cannot beat the video game of Halo by yourself. You can do multi characters. Like, you could play online with your friends from high school and college or at work on the weekends, and it'd take you forever to beat the video game. Like, even the creator said it's impossible to play that whole game by yourself and think you're gonna advance to every level by yourself. It's impossible. Which creates a team situation. I could do one on Warfare. What's that? That one that they have for War. I could probably do a whole series of what video games better than what franchise. Like, if this turns out to be very successful, I'll do another one on Sunday called Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter. What was the best fighting video game ever? But we got to see if this one's gonna turn out to be a good one or not. And there's Halo 2, which I thought was better than the first video game. Halo 3 was really done well. Best graphic designs. It was the best PC video game I ever saw. That was the best time to be in high school and college. That was, to me, that was like the golden age of video games. It doesn't get no better than that, no bigger than that. Then of course they came with Halo 4, and Halo 4 was just as good as Halo 3. Halo 5 was now 20, 25 years later, and the story was he got framed by someone in the military because they didn't think it was good to have genetic enhanced cloned super soldiers in the military, and he had to clear his name. So both franchises ended up getting 5 video games. Both were considered the best video game franchises of the 1990s and the 2000s. Both franchises have got posters, comic books, graphic novels, posters, backpacks, trading cards, action figures, and they did even make a low budget feature film of Halo. A lot of people have never seen it. I've actually seen it on, the Sci-Fi Network, maybe like 7 years ago. They made 2 low budget movies of Halo, and I think either Microsoft or Apple and Steven Spielberg was even entertaining the idea of making a web series for Halo, which he actually did. But I think the thing was you had to get either a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox 360 to actually see the limited series of Halo. So a lot of y'all know what I'm talking about. And when I used to work at Disneyland, we used to always ask the $1 billion question: what was the best video game, Halo or Metal Gear Solid? Now, in my opinion, which I'm gonna say I give Halo the slight edge because I think Halo was a better video game franchise. Better developed story, better villains. Whereas Metal Gear Solid was fit for, you could play the main character, you could be the main character, and it dealt with real life situations and real life challenges. Why Halo, you still dealt with real life challenges, but you got to fight monsters and aliens, and you didn't just get to be the main character. You got to imagine yourself in a pretend world where Metal Gear Solid it's more realistic, to a more realistic approach. This is only part one of the video, because in part two, I'm gonna actually ask my best friend what he think is the best video game franchise. Halo versus Metal Gear Solid, who's better? Part one. This is only part one, because in less than 24 hours from now, I'm gonna go on location and I'm gonna ask him the $1 billion question: which was the better franchise, um, Halo or Halo or Metal Gear Solid? Sorry, I'm all over the place because it's starting to turn nighttime. Otherwise, I wouldn't be going all over the place. Y'all like, man, Alex, why you all over the place? But this concludes this video. It's not supposed to be too long. And it was just an idea that just came to me from out of nowhere. Title of the video is going to be called Sex Game: Halo versus Metal Gear Solid, Who's Better? Part 1. It's going to say video games, Part 1. And yes, it's for women and for men. There are some women who do play video games. And I've seen women wear t shirts of Halo, so I know women do play video games. Until then, peace.